Hi, everyone. This is Martin Pytela for the Life Enthusiast podcast. And today I have with me Jenn Trepeck, a colleague of mine in many ways because she's a health coach. She loves the metabolic things, and her podcast is called A Salad with a Side of Fries. And that puts it into the I'm not pretentious, I'm real. I'm with you and I live a life that's complex and I'm not trying to put on airs. I'm trying to help you. Jenn, I love you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. The feeling is mutual. I'm excited to be here.
Right on. Let's try and talk. Well, my audience is people in my generation more than anything, although we now are starting to see the younger ones. And I would place you sort of in my daughter's generation. And I think we need to know what you're going through, what you're seeing, how you're living your life, and what worries you and what pleases you, and all that business. I'd like to talk a lot about that and what makes us successful as health coaches and what frustrates us about people. All that.
Yeah, human nature, right?
Yeah.
Human beings are funny, right?
Yeah.
We're cute.
Oh, cute you say. You are. Ha!
Right. Well, that's our gentle, kind way of, laughing at ourselves, right?
Right on.
Um, so thank you for having me. I think, I'm in my early 40s, so, it's funny because I've been in this space. We were just saying, started health coaching in late 2007, and I was
That's
yeah,
ancient. Ancient. It's almost pushing 20 years in one job.
I know, which is wild. And I started on the side of my full-time job and then left my full-time job in 2019. So with all of this, though, it's interesting because my clients have always been 40 plus,
Uh-huh.
50 plus, 60 plus, because I come from the perspective of health rather than aesthetics,
Uh-huh. Isn't that
So
interesting that the health stuff starts rearing its ugly head at 45-ish, and until then, people are still chasing the success. And after that, they're starting to chase the, oh my God, I'm getting sick.
well, I think it's not so much sick as it is the hormonal shifts that happen
Oh yeah.
to where what used to work in air quotes, right, no
Yeah.
longer seems to work. The
Yeah.
things that I did when when I wasn't feeling my best or I was going to go on vacation or I had an event, right? The things that typically people did in their 20s and 30s, all of a sudden, not so all of a sudden, but we feel like it's all of a sudden, don't work the same way.
Yeah.
Or we're doing all the same things. We feel like we haven't changed anything, and yet our body isn't doing the same things as it used to do. And so,
Yeah.
I think that's really what happens that makes someone go,
Yeah.
okay, wait a minute. Maybe there's something I have to do differently, or my body is different,
Yeah.
or, all of those pieces. And I think it creates a willingness to explore a different approach.
Yeah. It used to be more dramatic for women, but I'm noticing that men are crashing in pretty good numbers too these days.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you have more female than male customers?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of that, I think, is a function of, me and my experience, but it's been interesting.
Mm,
I do have a lot of male clients and more over the years.
yeah. I mean, I blame it more on the fact that women are the caregivers in so many households, and so they end up looking after the food and after the wellness, and they're the supporters, and the guy goes to work, and the wife calls me and says, "My husband has a high blood pressure. What should I do for that?"
Yeah, I think that's a little maybe how it was before. I think now and what I see is with schedules and everything, people, even men, are at home going, I have to put dinner together, or, I have to figure out what I'm eating during the day and all of these things.
Okay.
And so I
Sure.
do see more and more that everyone is really recognizing, and this is a little bit of the zeitgeist, I think, too, but there's certainly more and more people recognizing that all of the things that they do all day long and the foods that we eat contribute to the health outcomes or challenges that we're experiencing.
Okay.
And I also think more and more people don't necessarily want their partner or the other people in their household to be the food police,
Oh,
or to
oh, I
be
see. I
the,
was thinking it's a
you know,
supporter, right? The police.
and
But
it
okay,
can
I get it.
be, but it can also be, the person saying, I don't think you should eat that, or
Yeah,
becoming their doctor or their
yeah,
advisor or, the quote unquote expert.
yeah.
A lot of times people will say, you could say the same thing I've been saying to, my partner for years, but he listens to, or she listens to. And part of it is just that it is
Yeah.
an outside person.
Yeah, yeah, we're talking motivation now. We know for
Yeah.
sure that nagging is a destroyer of relationships. So yeah, we should not do that. And on the other hand, how do you lead this horse to the proverbial trough? Yes, you
Yeah.
cannot make them drink, but can we at least show them that there's water available?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think your podcast, my podcast, I think it's a big piece of that, right? Because it's providing the information in an accessible way
Yeah.
so that when someone reaches out to say, I'm looking for added support, I'm looking for something more personalized, right? They're already in a place of looking for that thing,
Yeah.
right? I always say, I'm not in the convincing business. So, if you're on the fence, there's nothing I'm going to say or do,
Yeah.
that's going to make you, as you
Yeah.
said, drink from the well.
Yeah. I'm
But
more
with
ugly.
that,
Yeah. I'm more ugly with that. I write on my file NEP, not enough pain.
maybe,
Well, it's it's
I
the
think,
it's the decision point, right? The decision point is, are they ready to commit enough to do?
yeah. And I think the other thing that I often talk about with people is also recognizing, we've been told that motivation is what we need. We've been told, and that this is what is going to make us want to get up off the couch. And
Okay.
the truth is, that's not how it works. Really, when we first start, it's a commitment. It's a decision to do something, try something, and it really starts as discipline.
Mhm.
Our
Okay.
objective in the beginning is to potentially do these things because we made a commitment to, because we purchased something, we spent money, we told ourselves whatever it is, right? It's in the calendar. We have a little bit of discipline
Right.
around it.
Uh-huh.
Our objective in the beginning is to go from discipline into momentum, where there's a bit of energy around continuing to do the thing,
Right.
whatever it is. And then once we've had some momentum and we start to see the outcomes, we start to see the results, that's when motivation comes. That's when we go, I want to do this, even though I don't feel like doing it. I am motivated to do this because of what I experience when I do it. But the idea that we're going to have that motivation like a strike of lightning that's going to make us want to get up off the couch isn't really what I see
Yeah.
in terms of how it happens. And so sometimes even just shifting that perspective, I think allows people to say, wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with me. It's not that I'm not motivated. It's that I have to get to the place of experiencing that motivation.
Well, we have we have ways. We have a ways to make you feel it, which is,
Right.
well, there are two methods, right? The carrot and the stick. And the carrot,
Right.
of course, is mainly for the younger people. You're going to have, what is it called? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or whatever it is that you're going to have as a result of changing something. But the stick is usually the more motivating part.
Well, and I think that's also a function of, one of the things, one of many things that I do with clients is to work on what drives them. So often when we start this process, you're exactly right. What motivates us, what makes us
Why?
want to have these conversations
Yeah,
is that we are unhappy.
yeah. Give me the
Whether
why.
it's
Give me the why you
right,
want something, and the rest will follow. But we need to
right,
sometimes dig for it, right?
right. And that's a lot of times the value of having this conversation with other people instead of doing it on your own and trying to figure it all out yourself,
Right.
you know? And so, but a lot of times when we start, we're in this place that's pretty low, right? Low vibration, low energy,
Mm.
dark, right? We're motivated by what we don't want because we feel gross or whatever it is. And over time, one of the things that I work on with people is to help shift what moves us into action from what we don't want to what we do want.
Yeah.
And part of that, I see it a lot in relapse
Yes.
when we've had some progress and then we're maybe going back the other direction.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah.
do you work with people as the motivator, as the accountability buddy, that sort of thing? Like you have them on, you'll hear from me at 3 o'clock on Monday, kind of
Yes.
relationship.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we work with, yeah. So I work with people once a week for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they hear from you, and they are accountable to you, and they have paid you money, and if they choose to
exactly.
waste it, it's their problem, kind of thing.
Sure. And there are some people who respond more to the tough love piece. There are some people who, I would say a vast majority of my clients do a very solid job of beating themselves up, right? That the last thing they're looking to add to, a lot of times they show up and they go, well, I didn't do this and I didn't do that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going, yes, let's look at everything you did do. There's all
Okay.
these things that happen in this week
All
that
right.
we can downplay and diminish.
Yeah.
So there is that accountability buddy piece. And
Yeah.
what that looks like is a little different for everybody.
Yeah. The old school army sergeant, soldier, you're a failure. You don't know anything, and you're weak.
Right. We all, most people I know have that voice in their head already.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You too, or no?
Me? Mostly not. I'm more motivated by something I want to attain rather than something that I want to run away from. Like this is quite interesting psychology of things, right? We have this balance between gain something or not lose something, right? So yeah,
Right.
I'd love to not lose my once beautiful brown hair, but yeah,
Indeed. Right.
right. I'm more interested in my intellectual pursuits than I'm in coloring my hair, kind of thing, right?
Sure. No, I mean more even in terms of like the people that you work with, in
Oh yeah.
terms of having that voice in their head of, beating themselves up
Okay.
versus
Well,
noticing everything they do.
you're much better, and this is why you're here on this show as a coach who's willing to make appointments and show up. I do none of that. I let people come to me when they're ready, which anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Well, and that's where it starts, right? Like I'm
right,
not out, chasing people, right? As I said, I'm not in the
right,
convincing business. But when someone shows up, there's a piece of how do we do this differently than the way that we've
right.
done it
Yeah.
before?
No, but
Yeah.
the point is that you have a program I don't, which actually helps people get from where they are to
Yeah.
where they would like to be. Whereas, let's just say that I'm failing at that, and
Well, it's just a different approach, right?
let's have you fill the gap. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. different approach. And that's the other beauty of it too. I think that for every person to find the type of accountability, the level of accountability, of guidance and coaching or that works for you, and the personality type that works for you. Because, I say it all the time with people when I do like a complimentary intake. If I'm not the best fit for you, like I'll find somebody, I'll make some referrals to the right person, because it's not going to work for, whoops, hold on. My phone just fell off the stand here.
We can just
Yeah.
record. We're recording.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
start
That if I'm not the right fit for you, it's important that we find the right person who is, because if it's not a match on either end, it doesn't set anybody up, for a productive, powerful experience.
Yeah. Beautifully put. Now
Yeah.
what? Right? Okay. Well, let's unpack the methods. So what all do you steer people with? I guess. Well, I'll tell my story. I advise on nutrition, detoxification, stagnation, or the opposite of that, movement, and I also talk to people about trauma and resolving that, or else, because it's
Yeah.
usually the trauma that's the blocking factor that's stopping people from getting on the right path, or usually leads to self-sabotage, some sort of a form of that.
Yeah. So I work with a curriculum that really, we have, sort of 4 pillars, as we say. So the first piece is on the nutrition front. We're focusing on low glycemic impact nutrition. So really, for many people, it's learning for the first time. For some people, it's relearning nutrition and actually understanding how foods impact our body. I often say it's not what to eat, it's how to eat, because we all know carrots and cucumbers, not Twix and Skittles, right? Like, we know, but how do we enjoy Twix and Skittles on occasion and have it not necessarily impact our health in the same way? And, really making those choices rather than living by shoulds, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the
So
shoulds the shoulds always fail in the end.
right.
Yeah.
So low glycemic impact nutrition, eating to keep our blood sugar balanced, because also what we know is that if we are burning fat or storing fat, it is connected to our blood sugar.
Right.
So that's the first sort of pillar, as we say. The second piece is behavior modification through education, right? Really learning, over the course of the 12 weeks, we start out with sort of the nuts and bolts nutrition stuff. And then we also get into sleep and stress and energy and food sensitivities and holiday parties, or any kind of party, and holidays and, right? All of the things that
Right.
make this not quite so easy,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And so that's where sometimes with some people, we are getting into trauma things. Sometimes we are getting into motivation. We're always definitely stress and obstacles. And how do we sort of keep moving forward?
Hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the second piece. The third piece on the movement front, we focus on body composition. So not just losing weight or making the number on the scale go down, but removing fat. Because as we know, health is not a number on the scale or a size or,
Right.
what we see in the mirror. It's about what's happening on the inside. And so when we really focus on improving health, it's about removing fat, right? So removing that weight, making the number on the scale change because we are removing fat, not because we are losing water, muscle, and bone, which is
Right.
typically what happens with a lot of typical, sort of
Yeah.
programs or diets or things
Yeah. Crash
that,
reduction of volume.
right,
Yeah.
right, that we've all done before. And then the fourth piece is strategic supplementation. So looking at not just what are the gaps that we need to fill in because of our food supply or, our choices and those kinds of things, but also looking at, you know, Are we in a state of metabolic syndrome? Are we not properly responding to leptin or ghrelin or cortisol or, all of these pieces so we can really rehab the metabolism and work with our bodies? And so there are a lot of herbs and botanicals and nutrients that really support us and make it feel like I used to joke around. I was like, you know, it can feel like we're naked and barefoot trying to climb Mount Everest, and everybody around us is like, climb. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you moving? Like, we're all going. And you're like, what do you mean? I'm naked and barefoot and I have no equipment. And so sometimes when we use some of these tools of supplementation,
Mm.
it's like, then we add, all the education pieces, and now we have skis and poles and boots and equipment and all the things to then go, you know,
Yeah.
give it a go and see what happens and be willing to, fall and get up and figure it all out.
Yeah, you get traction. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the part of stuff that we specialize in actually in our business, where we manufacture superfoods that actually help people to do these corrective measures. Do you need more protein? And if so, do you want to go vegetarian with it? You could. Or how toxic is your liver?
Right.
Can you
Right.
in fact do the conversions? Right. A lot of people who end up with this metabolic syndrome have been overusing carbohydrates for too long.
Right.
Right. And so it takes a good deal of time and effort to reset.
Yeah. And again, like, we can use these tools to help speed up that process and support what we're doing. And,
Yeah.
a lot of times, it's interesting because I think we can feel like we're failing, like it's something that we've, you know, done. And more often, it is so much more biochemical than people realize.
Mhm.
It's not this moral failing that we have a craving, right? It's not yet whatever it is that we can feel like there's nothing wrong with us, that it can be easier to have breakfast, on plan than dinner and after dinner, right? All of these things are very physiological in terms of why this is the case. And so one of the things is that when we dig into it, when we start to understand all these pieces, people really start to feel on the same team as their body and understand what's going on. And so it really shifts how we view our choices and what we're doing and what we're experiencing.
Mhm.
And I see that that makes a tremendous difference.
Yeah. Yeah. It's once you have the why, or as the Archimedes put it, I think it was Archimedes, give me a fulcrum, I can move any object. And
Right.
it's that firm spot against which you can lean that will allow you to overcome anything.
Right.
Yeah. Well, good. So the program is in. Do you run it in cohorts, or do people start individually?
Both are options. It really depends. I often say that choice is typically either economics driven, right? A group cohort is sometimes more economical than one-on-one. The other driver of that tends to be personality, right? Some people say, I really don't want to hear about anybody else this week. I want to talk about my stuff and move on.
All
And
right.
other people love hearing about what somebody else has going on. It's like they feel like they have a lifetime of experience in the 12 weeks because somebody
Mhm.
else had a vacation or somebody else did these things.
Right.
So, it both are options. It really just depends, what works for someone.
Good. And
Yeah.
so all of this is on your website somewhere?
Yeah. So we talk about both group and one-on-one coaching, and everything starts with a complimentary conversation. Like I said, let's see if we're a vibe, right? Let's see if
Yeah.
we get along.
Uh-huh.
And then we do an intake to say, okay, here's the best menu plan based on where you are and where you want to be. Here are some supplement recommendations. And then you can take the menu plan and the supplements and go run with it. or we can put that into a package for you that's either group or one-on-one, coaching. So, yeah.
So to the person who's listening to it in their headset rather than watching it
Yes.
on a show, we better ask them to write down your website.
Yeah. So it's asaladwithasideoffries.com. All social media, I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JennTrepeck. So wherever is easy for you, send a message. We'll schedule a time to connect.
Cool. How did you get such a fun name?
I have to give that to my parents. Or you mean salad with a side of fries?
No, I meant Trepeck
Oh,
because
yeah.
there was a famous game show host with a different spelling of the same word, right?
So, well, that was Alex Trebek, which is a
Exactly.
different name, but
No, it's
interesting.
not that different.
I
It's
get that in terms of the origin of it and all that. But the interesting thing is that every Trepeck is our family.
oh really? You're the only ones.
Yep.
Okay. And where
Yeah.
did they come from?
So it turns out a lot, Russia and,
Yeah,
Eastern Europe,
Eastern
really.
Europe.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I thought. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I mean, that's where I'm from too.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And then my mom's family is also Eastern Europe. My mom's family is like Czechoslovakia, Austria,
Yeah.
but
All
yeah.
that. Right. Well, and
Yeah.
and a lot of us now in North America are with that heritage, and we need to
Yes.
somehow figure out whether cabbage and dumplings is or isn't a healthy choice for us.
Right. Well, I always say a lot of the issue is the quality of the cabbage and what those dumplings are made out of.
Yeah.
Like if we could go back to, ancient wheat and, really
Yeah.
crop rotation and eating local and all of the kind of stuff, then we'll all be served, I think.
All right. Yeah, indeed. Yet that the
Yeah.
industrial age has brought us some really weird situations with food.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
cheaper than it's ever been, and I think we're getting about as little as what we pay for.
It's
Right?
true. It's true. And it's one of those things that also, speaking to what people realize now that I think we didn't necessarily realize before, more and more people do realize or are starting to realize that the quality of our food is so important.
Yeah.
And that an apple today is not the same apple that we ate as kids or that our grandparents ate, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I was looking at a mineralization report of food,
Ooh,
and we're down to about 10% of the mineral content of 150 years ago,
yeah.
which is frightening. Like that means that I have to eat 10 pounds of broccoli relative to 1 pound of broccoli that my great grandmother ate.
Yeah. It's amazing. And then we also consider the fact that, you know, in the United States, we have these, dietary guidelines,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
The percent daily value. Well, that was all based on feeding our military in World War II so that they didn't deteriorate into rickets and scurvy. That was not actually what the body
Yeah.
needs to be well and
Yeah.
thrive.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
the minimum to not
This
die.
was survive, not thrive.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, the more we can start to revisit some of that, I think the better off everybody will be for sure.
Yeah. No kidding.
Hopefully.
Well, I'm feeling hopeful. This new
Yes.
administration coming in seems to have a whole bunch of ideas about making America healthy again.
Well, we'll see. I think
Yeah,
it,
for
it
sure.
comes back to also, how do we define health? And, overhauling our healthcare system that's really a sick care system
Yep.
is a big boat to turn, So
Okay.
any progress we can make
Well,
in that,
yeah,
though,
there you are.
yeah,
The big chemical, the big agricultural, the
right.
big food production and pharmaceutical and health insurance. Those are all very large boats, as you well put it.
Yeah.
All of that needs to be adjusted.
And I think as much as we can, hope that the administration does something, I think there's something actually really powerful that all of us can do.
Mhm.
And that is how we spend our money and the things that we buy and the food that we put on our own plates. And, the more we can all reclaim our own health
Yeah.
and make these choices and start to reward the industry that we want to support,
Yeah.
y-
Then
you know, the
you're singing from my songbook. You know what's interesting? In Europe, people pay about twice as much for food as Americans do, but pay only a third for their healthcare.
right. No coincidence.
Inputs, outputs, garbage
Yeah,
in, consequence follows.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super smart. The power of the consumer is in his wallet or
Yes.
her wallet.
Right.
And yeah, be
Yeah,
very judicious where you put your money.
for
And
sure.
speaking of which, put some money on Jen. She can
Oh,
she can help you get to a better place than when you might where you might be.
you're so sweet. It's funny. Well, I'm happy to help. It's
No, really. I mean, it's what it's
yeah.
about, right? Like when you're wondering, what should I do? What should I do? I mean, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life was hiring people to help me get what I'm hoping to get. People who
A
already
thousand
have
percent.
what I wish to get, right? Like
Yes,
just leveraging other people's wisdom.
exactly. There's an amazing book. It's a business book, but one of my favorite quotes, it's called 6 Months to Six Figures is the book. And the author is Peter Voogd, Voogd is how you spell his last name. But he says, those who live at a world-class level learn from other people's experiences
Right.
to shorten their own learning curve.
Yeah.
Everyone, right, in anything that we want to do at a world-class level
Yep.
has a support system, an education system, and a whole team that helps make that happen. And it's so funny because we think that this body of ours is something we're supposed to just know how to
Yeah.
take care of, and it's the stuff that I always say, we're expected to know, but no one ever taught us. So it's time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think our high schools are just such a graveyard of good hours that have been wasted on things that, or I should say it differently. What we have been taught in high schools is largely misdirected and it's got such huge gaps. Like, why don't I understand finance, civics, getting along, basic
Yep.
psychology, basic, well, health anyway, cooking, you know,
Right.
why don't I come out of my high school knowing how to fix a meal and how to change a tire,
Right.
right?
Totally. And even still, the expectation that our parents knew this information,
Mhm.
or that we're going to teach it to our kids.
Right.
When what we learned, I joke that, I grew up in the era of every fad diet under the right? Like low carb, no carb, low fat, no fat, like all the things, the Snackwell's generation, the TV dinner, right? All of it we had,
Okay.
in our household growing up. And so I think, you know, the expectation that we're going to also have the answers for the kids that we're bringing into the world now is also sort of like, okay, we might want to relearn some things.
Yeah. Could we go back to the basics? I think a good
Yeah.
coach will focus on the basics. You know, the free throws and the layups. You need
Yes.
to do hundreds of those so you
Right.
can do them sleeping, or when I wake you up in the middle of the night, you should still dunk it.
Right.
Right. And so with nutrition, it's those very basics. Like you need to understand the building blocks and
Right.
it's the macronutrients. Like in life, the story is if you take care of the big boulders, the little ones
Right.
will fit into cracks in between. And
Right.
in nutrition, it's carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Those are the
Yes.
macronutrients, and you need to
Yep.
master the balance between the three. And if you mismanage it, the entire thing is never going to get right. Like
Right.
you can fiddle with vitamins and minerals all you want, but until you get the macronutrients right, you're not going to succeed.
And I like to add to those macronutrients sleep and stress management
Yes. Yes, that's super
and
important.
building muscle, you know.
Which you're talking
Right.
now about trauma and stagnation. I
Right.
mean, I just have different names for it, but
Yeah.
that's exactly right. Those are the big boulders of life. Because
Yep.
if your autonomic nervous system is dysregulated and you don't sleep well, you don't repair. And when you don't repair, you wear out. And
Right.
yeah, you're saying it so well.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well,
I always say, I tell everybody, I call sleep the ultimate biohack. Like there's a piece of biohacking and everything that everybody's doing now that's really fun,
yeah,
but also going back to what you were saying, it's those fundamentals. And if we don't have those elements in place, any biohack or supplement is, it's one step forward, two steps back if we're not sleeping, if we're not getting those fundamentals in place.
yeah, yeah. I tell
Yeah.
people about the tires on their car. Yeah, you can keep on driving on the tires, but at some point they'll be fairly slick. On a sunny day,
Right.
everything looks fine. But if it rains, you have no traction. And
Good luck.
if it snows, you don't even get out of the driveway. And
Yep.
that's the analogy for me for taking care of the basics. And the basics indeed are sleep.
Yep.
Sleep is the ultimate healer because
Yes.
you heal when you are parasympathetic and you cannot sleep well without doing that. Anyway,
Yeah.
blah, blah. That's a whole bunch of jargony words. Yeah, just make sure you sleep enough.
Yes. Yes. Enough and well.
Oh, yeah, that's important. I've just talked to somebody who told me that they are sleeping but unrestful. No,
Yes.
no REM, no quiet, whatever. Do you use one of those gadgets to tell you how you
I
do?
do. I
Okay.
do.
Do you find that
And
helpful?
I do. And I've tried different devices over the years. I'm wearing, this ring is called Ringcon. It's a competitor to the Aura Ring. It's supposed to be a bit smaller than the Aura Ring, and also
It's
it
not as
doesn't
fat, right?
have
It's not as thick.
it's right, it's not as thick, it's not as wide. Um and it also doesn't have the monthly fee like the subscription that Aura Ring has. So I was
Yeah.
testing it because I was interviewing a heart rate variability expert.
Yeah. Tell me the
So,
name of this gadget again.
excuse me. It's called Ringcon, Ringconn.
Okay, cool. All right,
Yeah.
so you're currently
Um
testing it?
yeah, and I've enjoyed it. I think I'm looking at it specifically like cuz I also wear the Apple Watch and I use a different heart rate monitor for my workouts and that kind of stuff, but specifically for sleep and heart rate variability, I find it much easier to decipher the information, to look at what's happening, to see the differences. Um
So do you reckon that
so
the
yeah.
ring can be precise enough for measuring heart rate variability?
Yes.
Good enough?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
The watch will only do a decent job of heart rate variability if you wear it when you sleep and if you use it for the I can't remember what they call it, if they call it like the relaxation thing or the deep breathing thing, but if the watch only really works if you do those other things. And
Okay.
so I
Yeah.
prefer the ring for those pieces. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. I I got burnt out on gadgets long ago because I bought something that was advertised as a brainwave synchronizer, and it said
Oh yeah.
meditate like the Tibetan monk. So I bought it, I paid money, I turned it on, put it on, and I waited for this thing to happen. And then I realized, oh, I already do this.
Right.
I don't need
Well,
this gizmo.
there's another app, and I can't think of what it's called, but it's it might be like Synchrony or something, but it's looking at, head, heart,
Oh yeah.
kind of alignment and energy. And also, so while you're using the app for about the 10, 15 minutes of, sort of the meditative breathing and holding your finger to the light on your phone, it'll do heart rate variability for that, those few minutes. But it's, coherence. It's called coherence. But it's interesting because there's people all over the world using the app. And so it's this massive coherence among the people. So it's really
Well,
interesting.
that's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So
Well,
lots of tools.
That's the young people, see? That's what we
Right.
that's what we need. The generation of, I tell you, myself, like I do have a mobile phone, but to me, it's just a stranger that I don't really want to dedicate my life to.
Yeah.
But I ask my kids to help me set it up.
I hear you. I know. Well, listen, there are things that I ask my nephew. He's 10. He knows
More.
so many things about, oh, yeah. I mean, he just picks something up and intuitively can figure out how,
Right.
they all work. So,
Very
yeah.
good. All right, Jen, I think we should put a pin in this on the fact that, okay, a health coach that's been in the industry for a good while can actually help you orient yourself better in the world, has tools and tricks, and sounds like Jen, anyway, has an awesome style and patience.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, JENNTREPECK.com
Yes.
for social media, and a salad with a side of fries.com for the podcasts and all the other stuff.
Yes. And wherever you like to listen, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the places, we're there.
Oh, the young people, they're on all of it.
Yes.
All right, Jen.
Martin, thank you so much.
All right. You can find me at life-enthusiast.com. My name is Martin Pytela, and tune in again. Thank you.
My body's a temple, but the walls are cracked. Stuck in the rubble of the years I stacked. Stagnation in my veins like a river turned to dust. Toxic whispers in the wind, but I gotta rebuild. I must. Restoring vitality.